Mia, we finally yesterday got the position from the Liberals on net zero. Where do you think they go from here? I mean, yes, they've dumped net zero. They're still signed up to the Paris Agreement. I can't see this playing out particularly well in the long term for Susan Lee. Chris Bowen was out there today. He's accusing the Liberals of being dinosaurs. Surprise, surprise. Here he is.
If the Liberal Party, as you accept, are the ones making the argument that somehow renewables aren't the cheapest form of energy, then they fly in the face of every bit of economic evidence. They want to show continually they're dinosaurs who reject science and who reject economics.
The more we see of Chris Bowen, the more likely the coalition is going to claw their way back at the next election. He was hidden during the last campaign. So what do you make of the week? I mean, we're going to get a joint coalition policy on climate on Sunday. Has Susan Lee done the right thing? Will she survive?
Well, yes, I think Susan Lee has done the right thing. I think dumping net zero was a long time coming. Many Australians have been waiting for the coalition to make the leap here so that finally, we can have a contest of ideas. However, this is just the beginning. There is a long, long way to go because you cannot have a contest if you do not have clarity of conviction. And this is where my concern is with the Liberal Party. The Liberal Party will not be able to follow through with this conviction if they do not know why it is that they are proceeding with this argument, if they don't know what their values are. And I'm not sure the Liberal Party has done the work yet to actually understand from a values perspective why it is that they're dumping net zero. And that's why we're kind of seeing this mess bubble to the surface where we're saying we're still involved in Paris, we're still committed to Paris, we're still committed to reducing emissions, yet we're not committed to net zero, we're going to dump that. So it's an awfully confusing message that's coming out, and I'm not sure that unless they get this message really, really clear and they stand behind their convictions, that they'll actually be able to carry this argument to the end.
Yeah, they need to get on with it in a hurry. Joe, I mean, save me. There's a cinematic release, apparently, of a documentary, so you go along to the movie theatre to watch this, detailing the rise of New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern. The trailer is pretty slick from HBO. Have a look at that.
You can be anxious, sensitive, kind. You can be a mother, a nerd, a crier. You can be all of these things. And you can lead just like me.
Who's going to buy a ticket to go and see that?
It's all the feels, isn't it? This is the thing, I've only seen the full trailer, but it doesn't seem to point to any particular great policy achievements. And obviously, the New Zealand lockdown was only comparable to the one that happened in Victoria. And we both know how that turned out. I think the public is probably, apart from the people who this is obviously intended to appeal to, which I suspect is sort of upper middle class progressives, I think people are a little bit sick of politicians sort of emoting about things and not actually getting things done. Jacinda Ardern was elected on the back of a very ambitious housing target that I don't believe was met. There's some rancour among the farming community in New Zealand, and the fact that there's now a Conservative national government in New Zealand rather than a Labor government, I think perhaps tells you more about her legacy than an HBO documentary can.
Mia, I can put my hand up and say I've never ever used one of those food delivery businesses to arrive at my place with a squash pizza in the back of a box on the back of a bike, and I never will. But I was surprised this week to see Menulog, which famously, of course, used very famous people like Katy Perry to advertise their wares. How does that collapse? What does that say about the economy if Menulog, with all those thousands of bike riders around Australia, falls over? How can that happen?
Well, it just shows, quite frankly, that Australia is a very difficult place to do business in. And that's because our prosperity and our productivity is being strangled by record amounts of red tape. And this is just one example of a very prominent business going under. But the unfortunate reality is that hundreds of thousands of businesses go under in Australia each year. I mean, in 2024 alone, I think it was just over 370,000 businesses that went under. And in fact, for every 100 businesses that started, 88 closed down. So, and at the end of the day, this is a real loss for Australians, because if we have fewer businesses, we have less choice, which means less competition and then higher prices. So that's who it hurts at the end of the day. And I really hope that we have a government soon that starts taking red tape seriously.
You wonder, Joe, what it says about using Snoop Dogg.
Well, the Snoop Dogg ads were the favourite part of Menu Log for me, but I didn't actually use them that much. And I think this is really a story of the sort of boom-bust online economy where you have these companies that are basically online platforms that then rely on incredibly...
Plus they're treating their staff like slaves. That's the other problem with that whole thing. Joe Meyer, always a great pleasure to catch up with you. Thank you very much.